Ring-a-ding, welcome right back. You're watching part 6 of my weird shit you might have missed in Half-Life 2, chapters Black Mesa East, and We Don't Go to Ravenholm. Enjoy, cunt. Oh, I'm sure you all know about that secret G-Man sighting behind some derailed train cars way back over here. By the way, it still counts as part of chapter We Don't Go to Ravenholm, so shut the hell up. And guess what? It turns out there is a legit way to get up close to that white collar like right up in his grill close. And it only involves no cheat commands whatsoever, just a ton of saint level patience and ingenuity with crates. Thanks, Gaben, this area is lousy with stuff we can stack to get up to that rooftop.
I'm Gabe Newell.
And once we're up here, the view is breathtaking, to say the goddamn least, but we're not going to stand around taking it in. Right across this rooftop and more crates need to be stacked up if we're going to proceed. Finally, we're all the way up on this roof, and just when I figured I was stuck bashing my head into an invisible wall, it turns out holding a barrel in your hands somehow messes with all that invisible barrier nonsense and lets you drop down here. From now on, it's as simple as just skirting your way around this wall, and there he is. Did you really think you could hide from me, you prick? Just look at him. Look up creepy in the dictionary and this guy will be staring right back at you. Jackass. Jackass. Piece of shit. Prick. Head. Alright, now let's talk about this fella right here, hanging out on top of the saw blade lodged deep into the wall. Now I bet you all met him early on right after first setting foot in Ravenholm. And this is where you might want to pull over for just a second and think about something. First of all, it looks like he was split in half by a saw blade, which would have taken a gravity gun, the gravity gun, to lodge it this deep into the wall. And last I checked, I had the only one in existence, how about that? So whoever split this guy in half must have stood about right here with a saw blade ready to be jolted at the zombie. I also realized that I might be reading into it way too much, as this is likely just a friendly hint from Valve to start thinking outside of the box now that I have the gravity gun and there's a bunch of saw blades laying around, but still, this makes no fucking sense. Speaking of things lying around to be used against Ravenholm's fine residents, yes, these white paint cans are a lot of fun to throw at zombies, which in turn will color them white. How about that, huh? All types of zombies are affected, and these paint cans show up a lot, so you can count on a lot of fun to be had. Just one thing to keep in mind, smashing them with paint cans long enough usually leads to a fatal outcome, so be mindful, motherfucker.
It is you, brother!
Speaking of tunnels at Black Mesa East, I've always wondered what's right up there behind that mesh barrier. Clearly, there is no legit way to slip past the barrier other than using cheat commands. It's all for the sake of science, so here we go. And two things are to be discovered. First of all is this Andrew Tate looking fella. Outside of this place, he's hardly seen anywhere else in the game, except for a few times and from afar. His name is Cheaple Male 1, and curiously enough, his name in the leaked version of the game was Andrew. Valve must have known something. This Cheaple Male 1 fella was modeled after one Warren Slow, Vanessa Slow's brother, who is the wife of Dad Blackman, Valve art director. This guy passed away in 2006 of undisclosed causes. Whatever happened, rest in peace, man. There is this Ford hanging around next to a dead-end wall, a bit back up the same tunnel for no apparent reason. What makes him unique is that often, when interacted with, he'll rattle off the same lines as the singing Ford earlier in chapter Water Hazards finale.
No false veils of time or space may intervene. We see you still in Black Mesa. Clearly we see you in the Nailance chamber. See you still in Black Mesa. Clearly we see you in the Nailance chamber.
You don't get these kind of dialogue lines from regular Forties, that much you can count on. And those two Ford chefs you get to glimpse during the elevator ride with Judith, yeah, they are of the exact same nature as the singing Ford. That is, they'll spew out the same mysterious dialogue lines, about Nihilante and all that garbage. Which is strange considering they're just here for looks, like we're not even supposed to be down here.
Communion of the vortescence and that other, a deeper mystery.
Now what about these fellas? Well, as grim of a sight as they may seem, something had always rubbed me the wrong way just looking at these guys. And then finally, I realized they make no freaking sense whatsoever. So let's say they did hang themselves as a quick way out of this mess, which is the most obvious way to explain it. Well, then how do you explain their faces? They're charred like bad briquettes. Did they step off the edge and then someone torched their faces clean off afterwards? Then who was it? Like, we know Grigori only waxed zombies, and these were clearly human. And the only time the Combine came through this neck of the woods, well, they bombed the hell out of this place from a distance. I doubt they would have touched down to just mess with some bodies, because, well, what for? Last but not least, if we assume they had their faces charred to ashes before they threw the loops over their heads, then how were they still alive enough to do that? Either way you slice it, it makes very little sense, unless I'm missing something. Also, yes, just for the record, these bodies have a real person's face, quite literally. Valve slapped a texture on these models based on a picture of a real guy's, well, charred face. The images can be quite graphic, so make sure you're not pregnant or easily impressed when you're Googling it. And what's weird about these is they look not only fresh enough to have been dead for a couple weeks tops, but they also turn up in the most illogical locations throughout Ravenholm. Take this dark little recess in the old workshop early on in the chapter. One burnt-faced fella is to be found, surrounded by a small bunch of zombies. I get that it's meant to look like they were feeding on the dead body. Zombies do that, right? And who can honestly blame them? But again, did someone get their face grilled to the bone before crawling to die in this little dark corner? And more will show up throughout Ravenholm, often right next to enough medkits to heal Freeman's major fractures and UTI from having not peed in days. I swear, these make no sense to me. I love Ravenholm's skyline, and if it wasn't for those distinct domes, Ravenholm's only church wouldn't even look like one. What I mean is, paying attention reveals that the church's domes aren't crowned with any religious symbols other than what bare metallic spires. This might be a reference to the early years of the Soviet Union when Eastern Orthodox churches were refashioned into warehouses, and their domes were more often than not stripped down to bare bones. Speaking of one other thing that has always stuck out to me are those smokestacks that dominate Ravenholm's skyline. And guess what? The way they are still spewing smoke and fumes suggests someone must have been around long enough to keep them running. Now, Padre Grigori comes to mind right away as the one doing all the maintenance, seeing as the only other residents of Ravenholm left every bit of fuck in their other pants a long time ago. This might suggest those smokestacks belong to a thermal power plant, which would make sense to think there was one in town, seeing as all the streetlights are still on everywhere you look. And Ravenholm being a mining town, possibly loaded with coal and whatnot, that power plant would have all the fuel it needs to keep running. Yes, a whole number of trinkets and Easter eggs are placed around Eli's lab at Black Mesa East, such as a cremator's head pickled in a jar of formaldehyde. If that made you scratch your head right now, yes, a cremator is a type of enemy that was cut following the leaked alpha version way back in 2003. Now, evidently Valve figured they would keep it as an Easter egg.
I'm Gabe Newell.
Approaching this will trigger Eli to comment on its dubious origin in nature.
We're still not sure what that does. Alex brings in the strangest thing.
Those bookshelves are also loaded with books, with most titles being way too murky and illegible to even, read, but some of them are still readable. For instance, we've got Lost Socks, most likely a reference to Harry Robbins' The Meaning of Lost and Mismatched Socks, We have Kalebi Yao's space. Mossman mentions something like that before your elevator right with her, so there we go. There's a book apparently written in Chinese. We have From Here to There in Under a Second by Isaac Kleiner, likely about teleportation. The Extreme Aggregato by Mark Laidlow. He's, by the way, Half-Life's lead writer. We also have the Big Book of Big Text, Flight Dynamic.
Nobody gives a shit!
There's a corkboard with various newspaper cutouts which shed some light on the 7-Hour War, portal storms, and Breen becoming Earth's Big Shower Daddy. Those two sealed crates, marked with the famous radioactive sign, are a reference to the movie Back to the Future, featuring two suspiciously similar crates. There is a small lambda on the tower unit over there. Meanwhile, the other one, right next to it, goes by the name of Gina, Gaben, Gaga. I'm not sure, it's all too blurry and shit. Hey, do you remember that part where you get your first good glimpse at fast zombies? Yeah, those screaming monkeys wailing like crazy as they come leaping from rooftop to rooftop overhead? Frankly, who doesn't remember that shit? But anyway, the trick is to not hang around and dash on down the street as fast as you can, right towards the fast zombie that will soon show up around the corner. If you're quick enough, you'll realize that the zombie is likely going to pass you by as if you weren't there at all. It's not until it's made its way all the way up the street that it'll turn around and lunge back at you like you just popped out of nowhere. This proves the whole jump scare is just a lousy script. I mean, figures, right?
I'm Gabe Newell.
See that nice star-spangled sky up there? Looks neat, right? Well, it's not until you start chucking items at that sky with your gravity gun that things start to look a little funky. It works best with a paint can, just throw it, and you'll likely see it bounce right off of some invisible wall or two, and likely even land nearby. Goes to show just how messed up this place is. Oh, and by the way, doesn't that shit look like a human face? Okay, well surely I must be making this up. No? And we're back in Eli's lab. Did you note that piece of paper with what looks like a drawing of a potato with letters reading potato right down below? No? Alright. Well, it actually reads rotato, which is in truth this device back here, essentially just a scaled down version of the resonance cascade, and apparently it's fed a similar type of Zen crystal to the one used in the actual experiment. Now, I've tried fiddling around with this thing, and Googling about it. Apparently, it's just there for looks, so, there's no, secret,
Are you blaming me? No, not at all. It was a calculation error, not a mechanical problem.
Falling or jumping out of the cart that will normally shuttle you down to the church grounds is no big deal. Just double back up to the same rooftop, knock the lever down, and wait for it. Soon enough, the cart will come riding back over. Easy enough. Of course, everyone knows that zombies in Half-Life 2 moan and cry out pure gibberish, which is really only God help me if reversed. But did you know their faces were pointed up at the sky the entire time? Those head crabs sure make it look like they must be looking straight ahead, which isn't the case at all. If you knock clip through their heads, through the head crabs, you will see this. They're literally just looking up at the sky, right? Oh, and how could I possibly pass by this area without commenting on it? Yes, you see this mess hall recreation area briefly as you ride down past it in the elevator with Judith. Right away, it'll catch her eye, right? There's a Vord and a resistance lady playing chess, and another guy lounging on the bed nearby. A bright orange lambda spray painted on the wall makes it all too obvious this area belongs to the resistance. No Metro Cups will pass through unhindered. It's a curious setup, but as fake as they come, seeing as it only serves as a backdrop for when you'll be passing by. Truth be told, they ain't even playing chess, just making it look like they are. Finally, what I like to do towards the far end of the chapter after I've escaped Ravenholm and emerged victorious out of the mines, I like to keep this fast zombie alive and bait it into following me all the way up the tracks. Soon enough, a combined sniper will show up pointing his laser at anything that moves, including me. This is where the fast zombie fits in nicely, as it's nimble enough to confuse the sniper long enough for me to sneak past it without having to dodge his laser like Neo Reincarnate. That's not saying he gets to get away with his bullshit though. At the end of the day, he gets yeeted out of that sniper nest with the rest of them. And that concludes it. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you've stuck around this long, thank you. God bless you.